and welcome back to day 8 of 40 Days of Prayer for Business Breakthrough. Today we are looking at Job 12, verse 8. It says, "Speak to the earth and it will teach you." This is on God ideas. Oh, I love this one because have you ever just had an idea where you knew it was from God and you're like, oh my goodness, that's brilliant. Like, we can be praying for these in our business. And I just want to share the story of George Washington Carver. So if you ever heard, around the 20th century, the economy in the South was really suffering because of a boll weasel, and it was devastating all the cotton crops. The soil was being depleted and destroyed of nutrients because they kept planting the same thing over and over. But George Washington Carver, he introduced the concept of crop rotation and encouraged farmers to plant peanuts instead of cotton. So they're like, that's awesome, because they saw how it revived the soil. However, the supply was way more than the demand. They didn't know what to do with all these peanuts, and so they rotted in storehouses. Hi, Marie Pearl. And so frustrated farmers were complaining to George Washington Carver, and he did what he had always done. He was a beautiful man of God. He got up at 4 a.m. every day to pray. And so he went for a long walk and talk with God. He literally asked God to reveal the mysteries of nature, and God answered his prayer. And he is now famous for discovering more than 300 uses for the peanut. But the genesis of this revelation came from one conversation with God. And in his own words, this is how he shares the story. So imagine him, 4 a.m., asking God. He said, "I asked God, why did you make the universe, Lord?" "Ask for something more in proportion to that little mind of yours," replied God. "Okay, why did you make the earth, Lord?" I asked. God said, "Your little mind still wants to know far too much. Ask for something more in proportion to that little mind of yours." "Okay, why did you make man, Lord?" I asked. "Far too much, far too much. Ask again," replied God. "Explain to me why you made plants, Lord," I asked. And God replied, "Your little mind still wants to know far too much." And then he just said 2 words. "The peanut?" I asked meekly. "Yes, for your modest proportions, I will grant you the mystery of the peanut. Take it inside your laboratory, separate it into water, fats, oils, gums, resins, sugars, starches, and amino acids. Then recombine them with my 3 laws, and you will know why I made the peanut." So he has everything from glue to shaving cream to soap to insecticide because of one God idea. And so a God idea is worth more than 1,000 good ideas. And so we can brainstorm and we can mastermind and we can plan and do all these things, but what we really need to be doing in our business is going to God, because God ideas change the course of history. And they're really only revealed in the presence of God. And so at some point in our lives, our best isn't going to be good enough. Our best solutions, our best ideas, our efforts just literally aren't good enough. And that's when we need to know that we can trust God and do only what God can do. Because prayer is the difference between the best that you can do and the best that God can do. And that is a huge difference, my friends. So until we know that God's grace and God's power has absolutely no limits, we will continue to draw these small prayer circles. But once we embrace the bigness of our God, we'll draw these ever-enlarging circles around our God-given and God-sized dreams. So, how big is your God? Is he big enough to heal your marriage or heal your child? Is he bigger than a positive MRI or a negative evaluation? Is he bigger than your worst sin, greatest fear, or biggest dream? And if he is bigger than all those things, because we know he is, then we have to pray like it. So one God idea is worth more than 1,000 good ideas. So I would just encourage you to take time, be in his presence, be looking, be expectant for those God ideas that only he can give us. All right, that's it for today. Have a beautiful night, and I'll see you tomorrow.